So I just watched DC Fandome in all its entirety, about 8 hours, and I'm here to share with you what movies I'm excited about, which ones I'm not excited about, and which ones I think you guys should be excited about or be interested in. I'm going to share some of my thoughts on the trailers, some of my thoughts on the costuming, and where I think the movie is going directionally and tone-wise. So I've done a lot of videos reviewing Marvel movies and the MCU in its entirety, but today we're going to be giving DC its day in the sun. I want you guys to know I'm a huge DC fan. I actually consider myself more of a DC fan than Marvel, so I wanted to give it some credit today. So we're going to be going over all of the movies and trailers that we got to see in DC Fandome. I can't wait to get started, so let's hop into it. Okay, so this event started things off with the closest movie that we have. We're going to be doing Wonder Woman 1984, which releases in October. I'm super excited to see this film. Given the chance, if we get to see it in theaters, I can't wait to do so. Cross our fingers that theaters open up again. But we got some cool little insights into our characters, what's going on with Steve Trevor, our two villain, and Pedro Pascal's character, and then we got to see Cheetah. And then in the trailer that they released, we actually got our first look at Cheetah, with her being transformed and all cat-like. And I think they did a really good job of staying true to the comic books and making her look very menacing and feline. The special effects and the CGI for this kind of looked a little bit unfinished. I'm hoping that in the theatrical version that it will be a little bit more clean. I know that's really hard working with hair and making it look natural. It's going to be interesting bringing Steve Trevor's character back to life and how that affects Diana and how it affects their relationship. And we know that in Justice League he's not around, so is he going to die again or is he going to leave? Is this a temporary thing? We don't know. But I can't wait to see this movie. I think you guys should be super pumped for it. And let's cross our fingers that theaters open up again and we can see it on the cinematic big screen as it was meant to be seen. Okay, up next is Suicide Squad. So this is a concept that I've never really been into that much. I know a lot of people love these characters and love seeing them be fleshed out. And when they released that James Gunn was going to be directing the next Suicide Squad movie after the previous one tanked so bad, I did get a little bit more excited to see this movie, and it's a comic book brought to life. Who doesn't want to see that? Based off of this event and what we got to see of this movie, it's going to be a movie for the fans. It's going to be a graphic novel told in real life. There are a bunch of characters that I've never even heard of, a bunch of DC villain anti-heroes. We've got Idris Elba playing Bloodsport, and we have Michael Rooker playing a character named Savon. We also do get the return of Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn, as well as Rick Flag, his actor, is returning. Jai Courtney as Captain Boomerang. So this movie is in the same continuity as the previous Suicide Squad, but it's a new team, new dynamics, and a new director. I think James Gunn did a really good job at directing Guardians of the Galaxy and taking characters that most people have never heard of before and making them mainstream heroes that are very likable and connectable. However, I'm still not as excited for this movie as some people watching the behind the scenes footage and what the characters are going to look like. It did kind of look like an indie film with like a really low budget. It doesn't look like, as James Gunn describes it, the biggest movie he's ever done. It looks kind of like a bunch of costumed vigilantes running around blowing stuff up. I do hope that it's better than the previous Suicide Squad that we got. I will be seeing this one in theaters when it comes out, but it's not a concept or a team that I am really in love with or excited to see. Another movie that we got to dive into a little bit more is Black Adam. Now, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson as Black Adam has been talked about for years. He talked about how this has been a dream of his for 10 years, that this has been in the works for so long, and I myself have been following it and seeing when it's actually going to happen. And when we finally got the Shazam movie, I was pumped because I knew that Black Adam was coming. I think Dwayne Johnson as Black Adam is like the perfect casting that anybody could do. And while we didn't get to see a teaser or behind the scenes or anything for this movie, they did kind of introduce like a moving graphic of Dwayne Johnson doing a narration of Black Adam, and we do get to see more of what the character's about. He's not an anti-hero, he's not a hero, he's not necessarily a villain. He is what he needs to be, and he's all about justice and doing it his way. I love in the little teaser that we got, he says that the hierarchy of power, as compared to the likes of Wonder Woman and Superman and Shazam, that it's all gonna change when he comes. That's how powerful he is. That's how powerful he's going to be, and I can't wait to see him on the big screen. I'm so excited. He also revealed that the Justice Society of America will be in Black Adam. We get to see little glimpses of characters that are going to be in it, but he said for sure that we're going to see Dr. Fate, we're going to see Hawkman, we're going to see a character named Cyclone, which I don't know of, but I'm excited to learn about her a little bit more. And then we have characters like Atom Smasher. These are kind of C-list heroes that not everybody knows about, but they're incredible characters, and they're very complex, and I can't wait for people to learn more about them. I think people got the wrong idea about Hawkman. He's not a joke. He's not like one of the least powerful C-lister superheroes. I think that Hawkman is actually going to do some serious damage in this movie. I can't wait to see him be brought to the cinematic big screen as well. And it is because of the JSA that I think that I am excited for Black Adam more than any of the other superhero movies that were announced today. Along with Black Adam, we also got to dive into Aquaman a little bit more. We got to visit with the director of Aquaman as well as King Orm himself. We got a little bit more into the behind the scenes of the first Aquaman, which I thought was really cool. You guys know me, I'm very into the behind the scenes and learning all I can about how the movie was made. For me, I loved Aquaman. I think it did a really good job of portraying just what a badass he is and how they have that like Shakespearean but underwater is really cool, and I think it's visually stunning. One of the most beautiful movies that have come out in the decade in my opinion. But I also really like marine biology, so it's kind of a biased opinion. While we didn't get much on Aquaman 2, we did confirm that King Orm will be returning, that Aquaman 2 is happening, and that we're going to see a little bit more into the Seven Kingdoms and explore the ocean as a whole. We only got to see about 5% of the ocean is what they said in the last movie. And now in this next movie we're going to see a little bit more. Maybe we'll get to dive deeper into the culture of the kingdoms and see how the trench interact with each other. I don't know, but I'm really excited to see Aquaman 2. I think they said 2022, 2021. But I'm going to be following it close to see what they have in store for us. Another Justice League hero, The Flash, more specifically, we were confirmed that Ezra Miller is returning as the Flash for the Flashpoint movie that they're making. That's happening. We also got a little bit of concept art showing that the suit's going to be evolving and we're not going to get that armored look, which I personally hated. I didn't think that looked like the Flash at all. I know it's supposed to look like he built it himself and that he's not supposed to burn up on entry or whatever that means. But now we get a suit that Bruce Wayne's going to build for him. It's going to look more like the Flash that we know. And the concept art that they showed, I'll show it right here. I think it looks pretty cool. There has been teases that Michael Keaton and his version of Batman will actually show up in that movie. And we did get to see concept art of that as well. It's clearly Michael Keaton. I don't know what they're doing there. If it's going to be like Thomas Wayne or if it's just another version of Bruce Wayne. We've seen different versions of the multiverse, so maybe that's what's going on. But I'm pretty excited for this as well. I know that there has been some controversy whether Ezra Miller will return or not. It is confirmed he is the Flash. Alright, and the big one itself, we got to look at the Snyder Cut. I am so excited. I have been pushing for the release of the Snyder Cut since I saw Justice League, and I learned that Justice League wasn't actually Zack Snyder's version. It was a part of his version, a part of Joss Whedon's version, and it's just kind of a jumbled mess. Personally, I didn't think it was a bad film, but it didn't seem like it knew what it was. In this panel, we got to hear from all the actors of the Justice League, but each actor had a question for Zack Snyder, and one of them was, are we going to see more of my character? We're going to see way more of Cyborg. Zack Snyder actually described him as the heart of the team and what keeps them together. That was definitely not the case in the previous film that we saw, so I can't wait to see what they do to flesh out his character a little bit more. We're going to see more Flash. We're going to see Flash tap into the Speed Force, maybe do some time traveling, who knows. I'm super excited. I can't wait to see that. And we're going to see more of Batman and Diana's relationship fleshed out a little bit more. And they even start the trailer. The very first scene in the trailer shows Darkseid. Now, I don't think that Darkseid looks complete at all. It looks like a video game character, and not even a good one. There's already memes. It's 20 minutes after DC Fandome, and there's already memes for this. But the fact that Darkseid is in this movie, and he's going to be the driving force, I am so excited. This is going to be the Justice League as we needed to see them from the beginning, as it ties into Man of Steel and Batman v Superman, and now we're going to see the Justice League in that same version, that same vision that Zack Snyder had from the beginning. I think Zack is a really good director. I think Man of Steel is probably one of his better films. The Batman vs. Superman is a good movie if you watch the Ultimate Edition, which the Snyder Cut is really going to be the Ultimate Edition of Justice League. So they are releasing it on HBO Max, but Zack Snyder actually said that he's getting it to a point where everybody can access it and everybody can view it, and they're going to be releasing it in 4 parts. I want to watch it as a whole movie, so I'm going to wait till they all release and then watch it all as one. But all of you people who are a little bit more impatient, I totally understand. I'm excited for this movie just as much as you are. The Snyder Cut is getting released, and we finally got a trailer for it. Okay, another panel that we got to see was Shazam 2, or in this case, really the only thing we learned about it was that there was going to be multiple villains. They did tease that Shazam might show up in the Justice League one day. Fingers crossed. And the title of this movie is Shazam! Fury of the Gods. Now, I'm not as educated on Shazam and his lore, but I do know that his powers come from the gods. The way that he spells out his name, it's each a power from a specific god. I believe it's the Greek gods that they base his powers off of. So perhaps in this movie, Fury of the Gods means his powers are taken away, or they're altered in somewhat. And the last panel that we got to enjoy was The Batman, more specifically the Batman movie that Matt Reeves is making with Robert Pattinson, and there's been some controversy about that. We don't really know much about it, other than that it's going to be the year 2 Batman, not the year 1. It's not an origin story. Matt Reeves said this many, many times in the interview that it's not an origin story, and that we're going to get a different iteration of the character. We're going to see Bruce Wayne, Batman, as we haven't seen him before. We're going to see Catwoman as we haven't seen her before. We're going to see Riddler as we haven't seen him before. I love Batman just as much as the next guy, but when he was in this interview and he kept saying different iteration or a different direction, all I kept hearing in my mind was, this isn't going to be comic book accurate. This isn't going to be the Batman that we know. And in my mind, that means it's not going to be the Batman that I like. So I'm kind of on the fence of how this Batman's going to be different or how he's going to turn out. I think Robert Pattinson is actually a fine casting if they're going for a younger Bruce Wayne, a little bit slender build. I don't care about that. I just want a good story, and I want it to be very faithful to the comic books and be a superhero film. And in the last 5 minutes, we got the first trailer for The Batman. When I was watching this trailer, I feel like I was getting similar vibes of the Joker standalone movie, where it's not necessarily tied into the comic books, but it's pieces of that character that make us go, oh yeah, I know who that is. That's what I was kind of getting, where it's not the Batman that we know, but it is Batman. He's working with the police, and it's got that darker tone, and then he's beating a guy senseless. We'll talk about that in just a second. And Matt Reeves also said that this Batman movie is going to focus on him being more of a detective and like figuring things out. And I'm all for that. There's a lot of action. We get shots of the Batmobile. I think the movie as a whole looks okay. I don't think, however, that it looks like a Batman movie that I will enjoy. No matter how many times Matt Reeves says Batman isn't a superhero in the conventional sense, I'm always going to think of Batman as a superhero. I'm not going to think of him as just a tactical, crime-fighting jerk that just goes around punching people. And that's kind of the vibe I got in this movie. The very essence of Batman for me is his heart. It's the ability to take that darkness and turn it into light, turn it into a superhero. He wears the costume to put fears into criminals, but it's also a symbol of hope to Gotham and to the people of the world. Okay, let's talk about one of the scenes from the trailer where he's just beating a guy senseless. My brother said it was similar to like the Arkham games. I think it took it a step above that. It was very brutal, very animalistic, and it didn't really seem like Batman. It seemed more like the Joker, honestly. I pictured Joker beating up Jason Todd with a crowbar while that scene was happening. And for that scene and some of the other scenes in this movie, I wouldn't be surprised if we got a rated R Batman film. You can be happy about that, you cannot be happy about that, it's up to you. Alright, so those are my thoughts on DC Fandome. Overall, I'm very glad I watched it. It was super cool watching these trailers for the first time and getting a little bit of a taste of what's to come in the years. I would kind of thought that the superhero genre was ending in that with Avengers Endgame, but it kind of seems like DC's just getting started, and I'm kind of excited to see where they take these characters and how faithful they're being, and some of them seem really faithful and some of them seem to be going in a new direction, and in that way I feel like there's something in there for all of us. But guys, do me a favor and comment down below which of these movies or which movies in general are you really excited or you don't care about. Comment down below what movies you guys want to see in the upcoming years. Are you as excited for the Snyder Cut as I am? Are you going to be watching it live or are you going to wait for the 4-hour version? I'm also pleased to announce that my next series of videos I'm going to be diving into the Christopher Nolan Batman movies, beginning with Batman Begins. I can't wait to give DC a little bit more love. I've been doing Marvel movies and I love Marvel movies, but DC is where it's at for me and I can't wait to get started. Alright guys, well, like, subscribe, yada yada yada. See ya.